Amid a pandemic that has taken thousands of lives, particularly those of the poorest Americans, and a recession that has left millions unemployed, the work of my next guest is now more important than ever. I'm joined by Reverend Dr. William Barber. He's co-chairman of the Poor People's Campaign. He's a senior lecturer and the president of Repairers of the Breach and the architect of Moral Mondays. Reverend Dr. Barber, good morning. I got an email from somebody who said, I walked by a church and saw 100 cars in a line. I assumed maybe they were doing testing. No, it was a food bank. You saw those pictures out of Dallas. They're amazing to the rest of us. They're actually commonplace for you. You are more familiar than I think anybody I know with the working poor and the impoverished in this country.
Ali, you're exactly right. And that's why on Monday, the Poor People's Campaign is holding caravans of remembrance, Moral Monday, where we're saying that we cannot walk past all of the people that are dying and suffering. And in 24 state capitals, we're having caravans to say it's time for a just stimulus. It's time for a smooth transition. It's time for a moral agenda. I believe, and many believe, that we are seeing crimes against humanity. My co-chair and I, Reverend Dr. Liz Theo Harris, have been talking about this. When we have 1 in 4 workers who are either unemployed or working for poverty-level wages, there's a study that just came out from the Ludwig Institute that says that we have adults who are earning below $20,000 a year or below the poverty line, 8 million more people in poverty. And we just did a study with EPI, and it says that the shock is worse than the Great Recession and the Great Depression. Because what had happened this time, normally when you have a recession, it starts in the construction and manufacturing. But because of COVID, it actually taken place, among those who are face-to-face, which are your lower wage workers, black, white, brown, and white people. This is crime against humanity, what we're seeing in this country.
Reverend Dr. William Barber, what needs to be done now? There's light at the end of the tunnel, A, with the coronavirus because of a potential vaccine, B, because we have a federal administration that is going to take this illness, this infection seriously, and we can't fix the economy until we get that under control. But what needs to be happened for the number of people, the shockingly large number of people who are food insecure in this country? 6,000 people in that line in one city in America getting food for Thanksgiving. This is multiplied all throughout the country. When we talk about 100 million people possibly being food insecure, what does the government need to do on an emergency basis? And then what do they need to do on a more structural basis so that the richest country in the world does not confront this?
Yeah, and Ali, as you and I often talk, let's say 100 million on top of the poverty and food insecurity that existed prior to COVID. That's one thing we have to keep in mind. This is on top of what was before COVID. We have all of this food in stockpiles around this country. It is no reason that we should not be releasing it. We should be making sure that everybody has access to food stamps and to SNAP. We should be making sure that we support the food banks. We should have passed another bill because one CARES Act, particularly the CARES Act, where 84% of it went to banks and corporations, is not going to fix this problem. Too many people were not paid enough even before this. They didn't have savings. They didn't have sick and medical leave and health insurance, and now they can't eat. But going forward, we have to have a moral agenda. I've heard people talk about moving to the center and a centrist agenda. That's not what we need. We need to deal with what's at the center of people's lives. We need living wages, we need sick leave, we need unemployment, we need true moratoriums on mortgages and people's utilities being cut off. We can do this. The money is there. Not that we don't have the resources, we don't have the will. And it is a terrible thing when the president and the Senate are more interested in changing a vote count than protecting people from caskets and from craving. People are literally starving, Elsie, in this moment. And we're the richest nation in the world. None of this has to be. The deaths don't have to be. The food insecurity doesn't have to be. The government could have even done this, the last point I'll make. They could have struck a deal with corporations. The government paid part of the salary. Corporations paid part of the salary, sent people home, protected people properly, and given the society time to recover from this. This is nothing but pure greed and crimes against humanity, and we have to protest it. If we can't get in the street, we're going to get in our cars and going to demand something different.
Reverend Barber, you have not stopped protesting this, but it is an important matter. It's not a political matter. It's not about moving to the left or moving to the center, as you say. This is just decency and good governance. The Reverend Dr. William Barber is the co-chairman of the Poor People's Campaign. Thank you, as always, sir, for the work that you're doing.